Hey students, this is lesson 613. In this lesson we're going to learn how to use Pythagorean's theorem. So basically how to undo a problem and figure out how to relate it to Pythagorean's theorem so we can do the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I'm on page 21 here, and we'll do these three problems on this page, and that should give you a good start on how to solve problems using Pythagorean's theorem. Remember, Pythagorean's theorems deal with right triangles, so it's good to always make a diagram if you can. Caroline and Trevor are flying a kite. Caroline is holding the kite and has let out 80 feet of kite string. Trevor is standing 25 feet from Caroline and is directly under the kite. Caroline is holding the string 3 feet above the ground. How far above the ground is the kite? Okay, so basically what we want to know is how far is it from the ground all the way up to the kite, so that height. Now, we know that there's a triangle right here. It's a right triangle, and the hypotenuse of that triangle is 80 feet, and the length of that triangle, or the base of that triangle, is 25. So, and then using Pythagorean's theorem, we're going to say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Right? And in this problem, we're given that c is 80, so let's substitute that in. And we're also given one of the legs. Let's say that's the b squared. Doesn't really matter which one you pick. Okay? And then we're going to multiply this out. So we get 25 times 25 is 625, plus b squared is equal to 80 squared, which is 6,400. Now I'm going to subtract 6.5 backwards, balancing this out. B squared equals 5,775. And now I'm going to use my calculator to get the square root of 5,775. I'm going to actually make sure I subtracted that right. So 6,400 minus 625. Let's make sure I did that right. Then we're going to do the square root of that. And if you don't want to type in that number, you can just go second and then the negative sign, and that'll give you your last answer. And that comes out to be a pretty darn close to 76. I think we'll just say B is approximately 76. Now, we're not quite done. We want to know the height above the ground. And you might notice from this drawing that the height above the ground includes this 3 feet from where Caroline is holding the string. So we need to add 3 feet to get the correct height, and that'll be 79 feet. All right, on this next problem, it says safety regulations state that wheelchair ramps cannot be too steep. Suppose that for every 1 foot of a wheelchair ramp rises, it must cover a horizontal distance of at least 11.5 feet. Okay, a ramp is being built to a restaurant entrance that is 2.5 feet above the ground. How much horizontal distance does the ramp require? How long must the ramp be? So for every 1 foot, we need 11.5 feet. So let's just kind of draw this ramp out here. And we know that it has to go 2.5 feet here, 2.5 right there. All right, because it's 2.5 feet above the ground. How much horizontal distance does the ramp require? So basically, we're trying to figure out this part right here now. And we know we need to go 11.5 feet for every 1 foot up it rises. So we're going to take 11.5 times 2.5 to figure out how much that distance is. So 11.5 times 2.5, and that's 28.75. So that's this distance down here, 28.75. And now we want to know how long the ramp must be, and that would be this distance here. Let's call that C. And so we are going to use Pythagorean's theorem now. We know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we have an a and a b. simplify this, I am going to square those ends together. So we're going to do 28.75 squared. That was my last answer, so I can just do that plus 2.5 squared. That gives us that number. And so that's equal to 832. Let's just say 833. That's close enough. That's about c squared. And then to get c, I need to take the square root of that. So I'm going to do second square root. And if I just want the whole number in there, I'll just do second and then the negative sign. Enter. 28.85 is my answer, approximately. So I think 29 feet is good enough here. So 29 feet. And that was 28.75. All right, the last problem here, this challenge problem, I'm going to show you how to sort this out. We're trying to find C and H, and if you look closely, you should see 3 different triangles in there. And what we're going to do is separate those out and see if we can deal with each of those separately. So what I'm talking about is there's a little triangle, and we'll label the sides we know. So this side's 5 and that little one, and this side is H. And there's the medium-sized triangle, and that one has H here and has 12 for its hypotenuse. And then the biggest triangle, and that whole hypotenuse of that biggest triangle is C. These are all right triangles. And what else do we know about that? We know that the legs are 5 and 12 for that one. All right. And the other thing you might notice is that this angle, well, I shouldn't say that, this angle on the little one and that angle on the biggest one are the same, which means if 2 angles are the same, then the third angle is also the same. So that means those 2 are similar triangles, so the ratio of corresponding parts are equal. And you might also notice that the biggest 2 triangles share this angle down here, which means that this angle, this one is the same as this angle here. And so, again, those are similar. So what we have are 3 similar triangles, so the ratios of corresponding parts are the same. And I can find C right here by just doing Pythagorean's theorem. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And I know the 2 legs, so 5 squared plus 12 squared. And simplifying that, I get 25 plus 144, which is 169. And the square root of 169 is 13. So C is 13. Now I can use the idea that I know the ratios of corresponding parts are equal because these are similar triangles. So I can just use a proportion like I know that H over 5 is equal to 12 over 13 to find H. And so let's do that. Let's find H. Remember, we use cross products here. So 13 times H is equal to 5 times 12, which is 60. So H is equal to 60 divided by 13, which is about 4.6. So we now know H is about 4.6. And we can also find, let's see, what else we have to find? Oh, we already found C. And C is equal to 13, so we're all done there. All right? That's it here. Go ahead, and if you want to practice a couple of these, you can do that, and we can see how you're doing in class next time we meet.